Good morning.
You're right.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
What can you tell us?
Well, what a day yesterday for Manchester United. We got that bombshell news, didn't we, that Cristiano Ronaldo was leaving the club. And then a few hours later, I started to hear some whispers that the Glazer family were putting the club up for sale. I was told the possibility of them selling up is, quote, very real. We got a statement from the Glazers basically confirming that, saying they're looking for ways to refinance the club, didn't rule out a sale. And I'm told there are lots of interested parties. And I think what's key here is they've instructed the Rain Group, who managed the sale of Chelsea to Todd Boehly. So they will have a dossier, a portfolio, if you like, of people who were interested in buying Chelsea. There will be conversations with those people to say, do you want to buy Manchester United? Chelsea went for £4 billion. I'm told United could go for anywhere from £6 billion to £8 billion, so maybe double what Chelsea went for. And I think Manchester United fans are rejoicing about that this morning.
Is that because of their commercial value? What makes them more expensive?
I think so. If you look at the history of the club, with no disrespect to Chelsea, they're a fairly modern football club. They don't have the history that Manchester United do. They still don't have the global appeal that Manchester United do. So I think it's right that United are seen as a more valuable asset. I guess the big question is, who comes in now? Will it be another American? Will it be more Middle East money into the Premier League? Could it even be Qatari money into the Premier League?
It's very interesting, isn't it? With them bringing in that group to handle it, does that give you any sense of who might? Is it an American group? Is it an American thing that you think they might be leaning towards?
I haven't got a definitive answer on that, but again, from conversations I've had this morning, certainly the prospect of Middle East ownership has not been ruled out. Ultimately, the Glazers are going to sell to the highest bidder, aren't they? They're business people. They don't much care about the interests of Manchester United. I think they've proven that during their, 17-year tenure. I think they became majority shareholders in 2005. But this is what the fans have wanted, probably since the start of the Glazer ownership. So,
why now, then?
Well, I think if you look at the strength of the dollar to the pound, I think that comes into it. Yeah. I think the fact that Liverpool have been put up for sale, I think the fact that Chelsea have gone, I think has made the Glazers realise, actually, we've got a massive asset on our hand. Maybe now is the time to cash in our chips. I don't think the protests from the fans have actually made much difference, to be honest. They haven't for the last 17 years. Is there any coincidence
in the timing, though, that the same day that they cancelled the contract of Cristiano Ronaldo, they put the club up for sale?
Well, there's two theories on that one. One, for me, is the fact it was such a smooth process for Ronaldo to leave the club. I'm told with minimal, if any, compensation to tear out the final 7 months of his contract. And then a few hours later, we find out that the club is up for sale. That says to me, actually, we've cashed in on Ronaldo all we can. We're going to sell the club anyway. Let's just let him leave. The other theory, which was put to me this morning, I'm not necessarily buying into this one, is that they did it to protect the share price. I'm not sure. I think it's the former.
The share price has gone up, right? Since they put it up. So I can't remember how much it's gone up by, but obviously that helps things. It's interesting times at Manchester United. If you were a Manchester United fan, how might you be feeling? Would you be, because this World Cup is an interesting time to coincide with Manchester United being for sale, and I mean that because there is widespread outrage of the World Cup being here in Qatar because of what it's connected to and because of the human rights abuses that it represents. So how would Manchester United fans feel if, like you say, it was Qatari money that came in to buy them?
It's a really interesting moral dilemma, isn't it? And I think if you look at Newcastle as a case study, the majority of their fans don't care where the money has come from. They were just delighted to see the back of Mike Ashley. They've got a club now moving in the right direction. They've suddenly become top 4 contenders. They're not asking any questions. The questions that are being asked are from rival fans, from journalists to Eddie Howe. I think ultimately the United fans just want shot at the Glazers. If that means taking Middle Eastern money, I think they're willing to embrace that.
Do you think it might come down to Liverpool and Manchester United having Middle East owners? Then you've got Newcastle as well. Then you've got Manchester City. Will that help these teams bridge the gap to Manchester City?
I think it's the only way they can bridge the gap. And I don't always agree with much of what Jurgen Klopp has to say, but when he talked about Manchester City effectively being state-owned, it being an unfair competition, I think he was right. How do you compete with Manchester City unless you've got somebody who's willing to plough in billions of pounds?
Squad themselves, Liverpool. So yeah, I don't buy that one.
Not in comparison to Manchester City though.
They've spent a lot of money. You go through that 11. They've spent a lot of money on that 11. Yes, they've made sales and bought off the back of that, but that 11 costs a lot of money to compete with Man City.
Do players care who the owners are?
No. Our job is to play football. Our job is not to worry about what what happens upstairs and all that side of it, that's for other people to decide what's right and what's wrong. Our job is to do what we love to do, and that's to kick a ball.
Talking of kicking a ball, where do you think Ronaldo will be kicking a ball next?
Well, this is the most fascinating aspect of all, because I think one of the things that he said in that interview with Piers Morgan is, listen, there are lots of big clubs who want to sign me. Well, let's see if those big super clubs that he wants to play for in the Champions League, so we can renew that rivalry with Lionel Messi, step up now. I was told last night the big offer from Saudi Arabia is still very much on the table. I still personally don't think Ronaldo would allow his ego to accept that. I think he believes he should be playing at the very highest level. I think he's due to speak to the media today at Portugal's Matchday -1 press conference. That might be standing room only.
A planned one, is it?
Yeah.
Not a surprise one.
Not a surprise one, but if you look at the timing of the announcement, it was just put to me over breakfast, actually, by one of our colleagues. Well, he's not going to turn up, Ronaldo, is he? I think the opposite. I think it came out yesterday so that he can come out today and say whatever he wants to say at this press conference.
Well, Argentina lost yesterday, Messi lost yesterday, so why not just come out and say it? There was a stat yesterday about Messi playing in his 5th World Cup and scoring in his 4th, because I think it was 2010. He didn't score any goals. Ronaldo, this will be his 5th World Cup, and if he scores in it, it'll be scoring in 5 different World Cups as well. So there's always a record, isn't there? There's always some sort of a comparison to make. If you were a betting man, where would you say he will end up next?
I think he will find a club in Europe. I don't think it will be a Bayern Munich or a Barcelona. Sporting Lisbon, maybe an emotional return there.
I've got no doubt that he's already found a club. I don't care who you are, you don't force your way out of a club unless you've got a concrete option. So I'm sure he's definitely got an ace up his sleeve.
Yeah, I probably agree with that.
He's accepted less money as well. You know, he probably won't get the 500,000 a week, will he? At this new
I suppose
club.
at this point, what means more to him? Is it is it the money, or is it the chance to play Champions League football again?
And he's let 16 million go, hasn't he? So maybe now it's about, you know what?
Doesn't need it.
For the rest of my career, the last 2-3 years, I'll go and play somewhere for a normal salary. What's normal? 150? And Ross, that's what you wanted?
Don't ask me.